really did kind of solidify Comer's statements that this was the A team of the IRS. These weren't just some lowly level employees. These were main agents on the investigation of Hunter Biden.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by Congressional reporter Reese Gorman. Reese, it's been hearing time on Capitol Hill. We've had our big IRS whistleblower reveal. What was revealed?
So what was revealed was the identity of the second whistleblower, Whistleblower X, also known as Joe Ziegler, Special Agent of the Internal Revenue Service.
I mean, Whistleblower X is kind of a cooler name.
I think it's a
than
cooler
Joe Ziegler.
name. I think he should change his name to that in the future.
Right,
Just 'cause
legally.
it's pretty cool. Yes. But since he won't, we're going to just call him Joe Ziegler. Special Agent was one of the lead agents on the Hunter Biden investigation and really did kind of solidify Comer's statements that this was the A team of the IRS. These weren't just some lowly level employees. These were main agents on the investigation of Hunter Biden. And while not much new information was revealed in the hearing, it was eye-opening just to kind of see and listen to their testimony and some of the information. There was instances of X-rated photos shown by Marjorie Taylor Greene, which was probably the most shocking revelation from the hearing. But outside of that, I mean, it was more of a reciting what they had already told the House Ways and Means Committee, which is what we had expected that would be. They can't really make new disclosures to the oversight because they need to make those through Ways and Means just because that's the committee of jurisdiction.
Right, but it did seem to sort of try to reinforce a little bit the idea that these whistleblowers aren't guys who have ideological axes to grind necessarily. They just didn't think the proper process was followed in investigating Hunter Biden.
No, yeah, and I mean, Ziegler, as he's stated, is a gay Democrat, and he was saying that he tries his best to not be partisan. And some of the things they said, they were blocked from accessing Hunter Biden's laptop. They were blocked from kind of using a search warrant on Joe Biden's guest house where Hunter Biden was staying at the time. Then Weiss told them that he did not have the ultimate authority to charge Hunter Biden, that this was up to
the U.S. attorney who was
overseeing
over the
case.
investigation.
Yeah, so there was just a whole lot of different things that were kind of recited. It was different to read it testimony one way and then from hearing it and then say it publicly. Right. And I mean, some of the other revelations that like any question that had to do with Joe Biden was off limits. They could not ask questions about Joe Biden. They couldn't, or it's highly discouraged. They couldn't question Hunter Biden's adult children, or else they'd be in hot water. And they were blocked from doing all these avenues that in a normal investigation would happen.
So the various committees that have been tasked with looking into different aspects of this have really been working closely together.
Yes. So, I mean, Jason Smith was waived onto the committee. He's the chairman of Ways and Means. He's not on oversight. Right. Which is, I don't want to say it's like super rare, but it doesn't happen all the time. I mean, the committees kind of like to keep the jurisdiction within their own. Jim Jordan's on oversight, also chairman of the judiciary. And so all these different committees have been working together, filing, sending letters, asking for transcribed interviews. And there's been no kind of joint subpoenas yet, but I'm sure if the requests for transcript interviews are not followed and they don't kind of go through with them, then we will see some joint subpoenas filed. But we have seen them really work together and try to get the information. I mean, oversight questioned the whistleblowers that the Ways and Means Committee first found, and which is in of itself is kind of telling of just how closely they're working together.
So the whistleblowers aren't the only people we've heard from in terms of testimony that's gotten a certain degree of attention. Who else have we seen testify before a Republican-led Congressional subcommittee?
We've seen Christopher Wray testify. We've seen, and just on Thursday, recently, we've seen RFK Jr. testify before the Select Committee on looking into weaponization of the federal government. And that comes kind of after he espoused kind of these anti-Semitic racist statements saying that COVID was kind of used and created to target, quote, whites and blacks and not to attack Jews and Chinese people. And so from that standpoint, he was testified. He defended his statements in that testimony, saying that he has never said anything racist or anti-Semitic in his life. despite the comments being on video. But I mean, it's just, and they're really kind of honing in on these testimonies and these different hearings, really trying to open up weaponization of the federal government. That's kind of been the one main thing and the key in all of these hearings. Christopher Wray, the hearing was the weaponization of the FBI, FISA being used on private American citizens, and with the IRS whistleblowers, there was the DOJ politically interfering and trying to prove this idea of a two-tier justice system between Republicans and Democrats, and how the justice has been weaponized against Republicans, and today recently how it's been weaponized on social media against censoring people. That's what RFK was testifying for. So the very common theme, while there are different people testifying, the main theme is trying to get to the bottom of this weaponization of federal government.
Mm-hmm. So Kennedy is kind of an interesting choice, though, because number one, he's made these controversial statements to which you allude that are not, sympathetic to everyone. And number two, he is a Democratic primary challenger to President Biden. Are they sort of trying to elevate him as somebody running against Biden?
Republicans have stated that they constantly quote polls that show the majority of Democrats do not want Joe Biden to be the nominee. Right. Or if they do, they want to see some kind of competitive primary. They want to see a debate. They want to see this. And while Republicans are never going to vote for RFK Jr., at least not the ones in the House, I think they do want to see, they're using this as a way to kind of give them more publicity, to kind of hurt Biden in the polls or in his presidential race. Now, to be fair, RFK is not going to be the next president. He's not going to be the nominee. But this is just a way to kind of hit Biden. And, I mean, they're elevating him. And I don't want to say it's like working, but he's polling, I think, in double digits. So he's definitely not a no-name guy. People know who he is.
And his father obviously was a major political figure,
Indeed.
Robert Kennedy Sr.
And so the name is also it just resonates with people too. And so it's not like he's some no-name random guy trying to run for president. His name has power.
But your prediction is he's not going to be the Democratic nominee?
I think if I was a betting man, I would say no.
All right. Well, thanks for that financial tip. Thanks, Reese.
Thank you, Jim.
You can read Reese and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.